The first time she came knocking on my door, it was barely sunrise, and I was still nursing my first cup of coffee. She stood there in pressed khakis and a polo with a little logo stitched on the chest, holding a clipboard like it was some kind of badge of authority. "Mr. Carter," she said, narrowing her eyes at me, "we need to talk about that barn of yours." I looked past her shoulder at the red building out back, the one I'd built board by board with my own 2 hands, and for a moment I honestly thought she was joking. But her face told me otherwise. That barn wasn't just a building. It was my pride, my little sanctuary. I'd salvaged wood, leveled the ground myself, even put solar panels on the roof because, well, I liked the idea of it paying for its own light. Inside, I kept my old tractor, some bikes, and a few chickens I'd rescued. It was nothing fancy, but it was mine, and every nail in that frame meant something to me. So when she called it unsightly and said it violated the neighborhood standards, I laughed. I told her straight up, "This is my property. You don't have jurisdiction here." She didn't like that answer. Her lips pursed so tight they practically disappeared, and she shot back, "Our jurisdiction covers everything in this subdivision, including your lot." I shook my head. "Not mine." I checked. "I never signed into your little HOA. I thought that would be the end of it." Oh, I was so wrong. The next morning, I found a bright orange violation notice taped to my barn door, with her HOA logo stamped across the top like it was gospel. It demanded I tear the barn down in 10 days or face fines. Thing is, the wording was all off, sloppy even, so I called up the county inspector who'd approved my plans. He flipped through his folder and said, "She's bluffing. That barn's legal, and she knows it." He even gave me a signed letter saying as much. I made copies and taped them all over the barn just to make a point. That's when it got dirty. One morning I walked out and saw the words "code violation" spray painted in giant white letters across the side of my barn. My heart sank, but then I checked the security camera I'd installed with the solar setup. Clear as day. There she was, hoodie, flashlight, spray can in hand. The nerve. I copied the footage onto a flash drive and marched straight into the sheriff's office. The deputy watched it twice and just shook his head. "HOA president?" he asked. "Acting president," I said. "No one ever voted for her." He filed the report, and I walked out thinking maybe that would shut her down. But she wasn't the type to back off. A couple of days later, a cease and desist letter showed up at my door. It accused me of harassing a board member and interfering with HOA operations. Basically, it was her trying to flip the script. I called my cousin, who practices real estate law, and she laughed after reading it. "This isn't from any lawyer," she said. "It's a template she probably found online. Totally fake." Then she dropped a bomb. She discovered that the HOA had filed a petition with the county to expand their territory, and guess what? My street was on it. I went down to the clerk's office, got a copy, and nearly choked when I saw my name scribbled neatly under agreement. I don't write cursive, I never have. It was a forgery, plain as day. And when I knocked on a few neighbors' doors, I realized I wasn't the only victim. Mr. Dawson, the Navy vet down the road, showed me his signature. It wasn't his. Mrs. Lee from the animal shelter? Same story. A young couple across the street? Forged too. That night, it hit me. This wasn't about my barn anymore. She was running a long game, trying to rope us all into her little kingdom. We pushed back. I gathered notarized statements, filed a formal objection, and called in a reporter from the local news. The cameras rolled as I laid out the spray paint video, the bogus petition, the inspector's letter, all of it. That evening, the headline flashed across the screen. Residents accuse HOA of forgery and harassment. The fallout was immediate. The sheriff's office opened an investigation. The county froze the HOA's petition, and suddenly neighbors who'd kept quiet for years started speaking up. Stories poured out. Threats over rose trellises, fines for parking trucks in their own driveways. Even nasty letters slipped under doors. It was like a dam breaking. Then came the raid. Officers stormed into the HOA office, a prefab trailer by the golf course, and carried out boxes of documents and hard drives wrapped in evidence tape. Inside, they found surveillance logs on residents, complete with timestamps of when people mowed their lawns or turned on porch lights. They even uncovered cameras hidden in fake birdhouses around the neighborhood. 3 of them were on my street, one aimed right at my driveway. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just a power trip, it was obsession. The community meeting that followed was like a scene out of a movie. The gymnasium was packed, folding chairs lined up in neat rows, and the air buzzed with tension. A detective laid everything out on a projector: photos of forged petitions, images from hidden cameras, copies of fake legal letters. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Then the big reveal. The HOA's finances showed over $25,000 siphoned into a private account under her maiden name. It wasn't just harassment, it was embezzlement. The room erupted, and for the first time, people weren't scared anymore, they were angry. When they asked me to speak, I didn't have a speech prepared. I just told the truth. I said I never wanted a fight. I just wanted to build something useful on my own land, something I could be proud of. But what happened wasn't about a barn. It was about control, about fear, about letting one person dictate our lives because no one wanted to make waves. And I told them, this ends now. By the end of that night, the vote was in. The HOA was dissolved, their power stripped away, and their so-called president was let out in handcuffs. I'll never forget watching her scan the room, hoping for someone, anyone, to defend her. No one did. The neighborhood had finally woken up. These days, things look different around here. Mr. Dawson runs a Saturday tool workshop out of his garage. Mrs. Lee hosts a gardening club. The couple across the street built a chicken coop and named their loudest hen after her, just for the irony. And my barn, well, it's still standing, paint cleaned up, solar panels humming away, but now it's more than just a barn. It's a reminder that fear only wins if we let it. Funny thing is, I still get letters sometimes. Neighbors thanking me for standing up, for reminding them that property lines don't divide us, fear does. And every time I look out at that barn, I think about how close we came to losing the neighborhood to one person's obsession with control. So let me ask you, what do you think? Was I right to fight back, or should I have just kept my head down and let it slide? Have you ever had someone in your community try to play king or queen over everyone else? Drop your stories in the comments, because I know I'm not the only one who's seen how messy it gets when power goes unchecked. And if you think standing up was worth it, share this story, because sometimes all it takes is one person saying enough to change everything.